little quick on the draw here, so bear with me as I get my other streams up and running. But it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I want to continue on with what we were discussing earlier, and that is the fact that Hunter Biden is essentially a free man now. Let's just say he's in it clear. Hunter Biden, pardoned by his dad, is no longer a target for Biden's adversaries, likely being Trump and right-wing media alike. So Hunter Biden has been officially pardoned. I had to step away earlier, so some of you folks may have noticed the live quickly went down, but we're going to go ahead and continue the party as we speak. So we are back now, and we're asking that question once again. Does your opinion of President Biden change at all now that he has clearly lied about pardoning his son? Hunter Biden has been pardoned. So, and by the way, let me ask you folks this. Do you believe what Hunter Biden was going through was a legitimate case, or as some have suggested, a witch hunt, predominantly because of what his dad was? Because his dad was president, that folks were merely going after Hunter Biden simply because his father was President Biden. In other words, if Hunter Biden's dad was not Joe Biden, do you think he would have still been facing the same type of, I want to say, prosecutorial attempts? Because I have stated, and many others have also suggested that, okay, he lied on the gun application and he did not do anything criminal with the gun. Now, there's been several media analysts, these talking heads, some of these lawyers go on television, and many of them have stated that generally, if a person is charged with lying on a gun application, it's usually after they've committed another crime with the gun. So you received, or you obtained a gun illegally, then you went out and robbed a liquor store, or maybe you got pulled over by police and you were caught in possession of the firearm. But to be charged for this as a standalone crime, you didn't do anything else. Your only crime was lying on the gun application. You didn't commit any crimes with the gun. They didn't even find you in possession of the gun. Most of the legal talking heads have stated they have never heard of a single other American charged with lying on a gun application as a standalone crime without something else being attached. So is it a witch hunt to get Hunter Biden, or is it a legitimate charge? Now, continuing on with the program, I'm going to pick up where we left off at, because we were running a live earlier. And I did ask you folks, if Trump, because Trump is stating, and by the way, DJ Julio, thank you for the hat and mustache, welcome back. Trump was also, once Trump found out that Biden had pardoned his son, Trump asked on social media, does this pardon also include pardoning the wrongfully, or I forgot what term he used, but he's suggesting that the folks on January 6th are wrongfully pardoned, and is saying, well, why didn't Biden pardon them as well? So make no mistake about it, it does appear as if Trump wants to pardon the participants on January 6th. And I want to ask you folks, do you believe that they all should be pardoned? Now, we're in the makeshift studio now, so we might be able to bring up clips of various activities that happened on January 6th. So we will talk about that. But the January 6th hostages, says Gen X, fuck around and find out. How many of you folks believe that the protesters on January 6th that are currently serving time doing federal bids, leader of the Oath Keepers and leader of the Proud Boys, I think those two leaders are doing 18 and 22 years respectively. I don't know which one is doing this, but one of them got a sentence for 18 years of Fed time. The other got a sentence for 22 years of Fed time. One is the leader of the Oath Keepers, one is the leader of the Proud Boys. How many of you folks believe that they got over sentenced maybe? that if Trump comes in there and lets them out, okay, they've served enough time. So we're going to talk about that. And last but not least, I was covering this earlier because I have only heard of this in recent times. I'm actually writing it down with my notes here. I grew up in the church, grew up Baptist, went to church a lot as a young man. And this is a phrase I've never heard of before until just now. And I want you guys to help me clear it up because I don't know quite what this means. What is a Christian nationalist? I want to hear from you folks. What do you believe? What is a Christian nationalist? Because I'm hearing this term more and more. I've only heard it so much. I've only heard it in the last few years, but I'm hearing it a lot now. I don't recall as a young man ever hearing about Christian nationalists. So what are they? Because they're coming up now, and I see in the comments, Brandon Talk says it's a made-up term. So you believe there is no such thing as a Christian nationalist? Just a made-up term, huh? All right, fair enough. So let me go straight to the comment section. An evangelist Christian, that's what a Christian nationalist is. Another name for white supremacy, says Life at 6'8". Another name for white supremacy. Yikes. Christian indoctrination. Well, I think you don't have to be a nationalist. I think all of them. If you're teaching Christianity to a young, impressionable child, it's indoctrination. I mean, you teach Muslim, you teach Islam. I think most religions teach religion in a way that indoctrinates. I mean, if you're teaching it to your kids at like I said, they're 10 years of age or younger, that's indoctrination. You meant Trump wants to let the criminals out to poison our blood. Damn. Ben Rub 23. So you're suggesting that if Trump pardons the January 6 participants, you equate that to letting out criminals that are going to poison our blood. Strong language. Let me go straight to the box. Stick the ruler. I tried to bring you up earlier, Stick. I don't know what was going on. Nevertheless, good to have you on now. Stick.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So what do you think? Biden has pardoned his son. I was asking earlier, does that change the way you view this man? Because he did say he wasn't going to do it.
Nope. I wanted him to do it anyway.
But he lied.
I don't care. I'm a Trump supporter right now. I don't care. I want him to do it anyway.
Wait. You said I'm a Trump supporter right now. You care to elaborate? What does that mean?
Well, should I say I'm acting like a Trump supporter? I don't care. That's what I want him to do anyway.
So what if even if he actually broke the law, you want him pardoned?
I want him pardoned because even if he actually broke the law, just like Trump broke the law, just as well as they want to say that none of this would have happened if Trump wouldn't have been running for president, none of this would have happened if his dad wasn't the president. So it's the same. I'm giving it the same degree. The only difference is Hunter Biden is not a politician. Hunter Biden was never running for any office.
That is true.
Hunter Biden was not attached to his cabinet or anything other than that's just he came out of his sack. So yeah, so it's one of those things where before he was even going through it, I was just saying, I hope he pardons his son. I really didn't give a damn what nobody thinks. That's his son. If my son is listening right now, son, I do the same damn thing for you.
But why lie about it? Why tell a lie?
Because he thought that, I mean, let's be honest, he's the president. He knows what's going on.
Okay.
He did have a sweetheart deal.
Yeah.
And no matter how you want to put it, he had a sweetheart deal. Why would he give him a pardon if he's got a sweetheart deal?
Well, and because even with a sweetheart
deal, said I was.
Go ahead.
He admitted to what he did. They said nowhere on earth would anybody else go to prison or get any time for this because of the circumstances of how it happened. Whether they had a laptop or not, the DOJ had it to where he already had a deal. Yeah. And then,
but even with a sweetheart deal,
they put in people that wanted to push the charges on him.
Yeah, but even with a sweetheart deal, it still stays on his record. So even you could pardon somebody. I mean, there are people who get pardoned even after serving their time because you don't want it on your record. So you're saying that Biden really was not going to pardon him?
I mean, I don't think he was gonna pardon him when he had the sweetheart deal. No, I think that he was like, "Son, check this out. I'm on. The eyes are on me." See, the difference between him and Trump is Biden won't do that straight killer, kill or be killed type shit. He's not on that. He's on, I know what's right. I'm going to try to do what's right to the best of my ability. Now, I get what you're saying. He told a lie. He said, I'm not going to pardon my son.
Yeah.
Because of the sweetheart deal. After that, after the sweetheart deal, that question was never asked again. I don't believe that he was are you going to pardon your son? So after the sweetheart deal was crushed, I think he already had in his mind, well, win or lose, because, he still was running for president. Right. Win or lose, I'm going to pardon you, son, so don't even worry about this shit. Yeah. He didn't lose. He got kicked out of the race by the Democratic Party. Kamala lost. So again, win or lose, you're pardoned, son. Don't even worry about this shit.
Yeah, but basically what you're saying, though, is, like you said, it win or lose, I'm going to pardon you anyway. So you're basically admitting, though, that when Biden told America that he wasn't going to pardon his son, he actually was lying.
I'm glad he was lying. I'm so happy that he was lying. Finally, he told a fucking lie. I'm applauding Biden for lying, giving a poker face too, and putting in 61 black judges lifetime appointments. I'm happy that they left him alone, let him get to his paperwork. He know how to do paperwork.
Right.
Let him get to his paperwork. Let him fix the country. Let him give more ammunition and weapons needed for Ukraine and aid. I'm glad.
How do you think Biden, because, obviously he had to step down and Kamala got in there and lost by quite a bit to Trump. How do you think Biden did as president?
I think Biden steered the ship back on course. And with him steering the ship back on course, things happened that really wasn't under his control. He just made it happen the best way he could. But he steered the ship back on course. The economy is doing good. That's why Trump wants to be back in office. It's another economy he can fuck up.
How do you think, wait. So how do you think Trump did when he was in office?
When Trump was in office, he rode the wave. We've been saying this, Hanson, for the last 2 years. He rode the wave. We know this. So till COVID hit, he rode the wave. He really did nothing but tax cuts for the rich. I'm just being honest.
So the idea that so many Americans believe that Trump did a better job than Biden, what do you base that on? Because you're saying that Trump only rode the wave and Biden is the one you're giving credit for doing a better job.
Until those tariffs hit, until the prices go down, the wave that he's riding is going to continue. It doesn't matter. But when those tariffs hit and then all the prices go up and everything happens, guess what? What is he going to say? Oh, I had a good economy. Who messed it up this time?
What if the threat of the tariffs makes Mexico, Canada, and China play ball, and he doesn't have to impose the tariffs because they actually do what Trump is threatening, which is tariffs? Let's say, for instance, Mexico and Canada protects the border and China gets the whole fentanyl and all this other shit under control. Would you give Trump credit then?
I would definitely give him credit.
All right.
Just like when you was on here with Julio and he was telling you about the Budapest agreement where we weren't supposed to go past Germany.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, actually it is. We weren't supposed to go past there because that was the agreement. And we went past there and kept putting people in the NATO, whether it's Poland, whether it's Georgia. Yeah, we kept going, and that we weren't supposed to do that. So I can agree.
Is that an agreement that's actually in writing? Is that an official agreement, or is that a handshake?
No, that's a actual document, like almost like a peace treaty.
So we were not supposed to have anybody else join NATO past Germany.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to go past that point. That's why okay, back in the day, I know you remember, Tim. It was East Germany and West Germany.
Right.
Right now, it's just Germany.
Right.
So that's the reason why I say we weren't supposed to go past Germany, because when Gorbachev broke down the wall, that made Germany whole.
That is
There
true.
is no East and West Germany.
Right.
So again, if you split Germany down the middle and say at one point you can't go past there, the next thing is, well, I'm gonna give Germany back and make it whole, but you can't go past Germany. That was the agreement.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that they never officially made that agreement, but you're saying they did. That means I got a little bit of homework to do. But I believe there was some statements made, but an actual official agreement, which would mean that Poland, because Poland is way past Germany. So you're saying when Poland became a member of NATO, that was a violation?
Well, yeah, and that was recent. So that's when all the recent escalatory happened. You know, when he invaded Crimea, and what was that, 14, and then
they invaded Georgia in 08.
He went into he went into Georgia in 18. So like every time somebody said I want to join NATO, there's Putin. Because again, you're going past the boundary.
So it sounds like if what you're saying is true, then it sounds like Putin had a reason to invade the Ukraine.
It's not so much he had a reason to invade the Ukraine. Now, he may have a beef with us, but what does that have to do with Ukraine? Ukraine gave up their nukes, and we told Ukraine, being that you're giving up your nukes, we're going to help you out just in case anybody tries to come at you. And in future references, after this stuff is over with you and Putin, we'll try to put you in NATO. But until then, you can't join NATO, because if they join NATO, that means everybody else has to be involved that's in NATO. Okay. Against Russia.
All right. That's certainly something we need to discuss on a future show, because I haven't heard it like that. But let me ask you, in regards to what we are talking about, you made it clear you're actually elated that Hunter was pardoned by his dad. Now, Trump is talking about pardoning the January 6th protesters in similar fashion. How do you feel about the notion that our next president may pardon them? Do you believe that they too may deserve to be pardoned?
I think Trump, even though he don't like advice, I would ask Trump, I would tell Trump, before you sign any documents, I think you need to go talk to your generals. I think you need to go talk to people, men and women who serve right now, and ask them. Don't go off your support base. Go off the Capitol Police. Go
his generals,
the National Guard.
You say go ask your generals. Shit, at this point, his generals are going to be part of his support base.
Nah, I really don't think so, because those generals, regardless of who's president, regardless of what left or right that they carry, they don't give a damn. Most of those generals are so gun-ho for America, they don't give a damn who's in front of it. It could be God Almighty. They gonna talk. They gonna tell you what it is.
So you believe our military will remain unbiased under Trump?
I believe that they will do their job for their country, and their loyalty is not going to be to Trump, because their loyalty 9 times out of 10 is to this country. And I'm saying 9 times out of 10 because it's not, nobody's perfect, right? We see Michael Flynn and how he behaved. So nobody's perfect. Yeah. But what I will say is this, I served, and I give the utmost respect to those sergeant majors, command sergeant majors, and generals that run the Army and have been giving their life and just sacrificing every day. I give them my wholehearted loyalty in the sense of I understand duty. So Trump and the supporters need to understand that we don't take lightly to that. I mean, the British didn't even get to do that shit. They didn't get to do that shit in the Civil War.
Well, it remains to be seen.
Y'all went up in that bitch and smeared shit on the rotunda and in offices, and y'all waved rebel flags, and what the hell? Like, come on, man.
But they may be pardoned.
Off of that. No, take your ass to jail. Stop playing with me.
They may be pardoned in only a few weeks. I got to move it on, Stick, but the way Trump is talking, they may all receive pardons. Thank you.
Well, I hope he gets better advice from a person that's a veteran myself. I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
Don't hold
Hunter Biden, I'm glad. Hey, have one for me, kid.
Gotta go. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. Joe Shalom says, by the way, Tim, this is why you cannot play both sides. You effed up, bro. Joe, in the comments, feel free to state that. I would like to know what you're indicating because I don't know how after. Biden was better than I thought he would be. My problem with him is putting his own aspirations over the country. And that conversation could go a lot of different directions there, Joe, because some people would say every president has done that to some degree or another. I'm going to go back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. I haven't solicited that yet. Get the likes up to about 20,000. If I'm asking too much, I'll see. But tap the screen, show the program some love. You know how we run this. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. That's how we run this. You can be critical of the host, critical of anyone in the comment section. We all have thick skin here, right? Despite the fact that it's December, I'm assuming there are no snowflakes in this audience. So this is about free speech here. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. Let me go back to the comment section and then the box. Looking in, wow, there's a lot of comments that roll back. Check your mic. Yeah, the mic has been acting problems. Yeah, you're right. It's not working well. I see that. You guys are all saying the mic is acting funny on here. Let me reset. I'll reset the TikTok if that's the case. That's odd because me and my last guest just talked fine. You guys are all having problems hearing me. Let me make sure. Fix the mic. Okay, so I'll reset the live. If you guys are having trouble, turn down the grain. That's not happening on this program. Let me try to reset the live, and I'll go on YouTube for about 10 seconds here. I don't know what the hell's going on with the mic. He's saying reset the mic unless it's not in here because there is no gain to be affecting like that. What he set up. Real quick, I want to look in the comments. So somebody did drop a super chat. I do want to respond to that while we're resetting TikTok. Thank Kamala. What are we thanking Kamala for? Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for supporting the program. I appreciate that. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but we'll go straight back into the programming on TikTok. All right, sounds good here. Yeah, YouTube, everybody can hear me okay. So I don't know. Maybe it was a actual issue with getting on TikTok. I don't know, but we'll reset it and see if when folks come back on. I had several folks holding on, so we'll wait till the folks come back on. But while that's happening, look at your numbers. Joe, I'm on multiple platforms. So you say look at the numbers. There are hundreds of people on other platforms, Joe. So that's what you're talking about effed up? You think I would be responding, Joe, if the numbers that you're looking at were total? I wouldn't be on doing this. If the numbers you're talking about were representative of the entire broadcast, I wouldn't be doing this. I get what you're trying to say, but there are multiple platforms now. I have recently started going on YouTube horizontal, which is where you're at, and the numbers there are incredibly small because most of my numbers are on YouTube vertical and on TikTok, so that doesn't really say much. I want to point that out to you. Looking in the comments though. Change mic, no wonder it don't work. The mic isn't. I shouldn't sound any different than I normally sound. Should be about the same as it normally does. Real quick, I do want to before the guests start coming back. I went and researched between Biden and Jean-Pierre. They lied 19 times about Hunter Biden. Yeah, they did lie a lot. Every time they were asked, they lied. Now Jean-Pierre. She lied, no doubt, but I mean, at the end of the day, she is a puppet for the administration. She's kind of like what Dana Perino from Fox was during Bush's time, or Spicer. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders recently. I mean, their job is to just simply go out there and portray what the president has told them to do. I mean, if the president tells them to lie, they're going to go out there and lie. So, John, what's her name? John Pierre or Jean, whatever, however you pronounce her name. I only hold her slightly accountable. She's just doing her job, behaving essentially as a puppet. That's all they do. That is all they do as spokespeople for the president. They are essentially just puppets. And whoever speaks on behalf of Trump when he comes back in the White House, they're gonna be doing that again. And I can guarantee you that Trump spokespersons, because there probably will be more than one knowing Trump over the 4 years he'll be in office, they're gonna be cutting lies as well. Just like when Spicer went out there and said that Trump had the largest inauguration crowd in history. He didn't make that shit up on his own. That was something he was told to say. Just like John Pierre, like Biden's woman is doing. Just a puppet. Trump wants to get rid of his press secretary. Wow. I got to give a shout out to Trump. He likes to be in front of the microphone. Trump really does not need a press secretary. He actually likes talking to the public. Biden does not so much. Trump likes it, so he really don't need a press secretary. He would happily go on Facebook Live or some platform and I'm going to go on at Mar-a-Lago, pipe it in and stream it to the American people. He would happily do that. He is a master at using the media. Trump is a master at that. He wants to use podcasts instead. Nice guy. Well, okay, podcast too. I mean, the fact is, Trump gets a lot of credit because he likes to talk to the American people. And he gets a lot of support because the people he's talking to view him as somebody who is being transparent, which is what most Americans, most voters want, is a transparent politician. Now, the issue some might push back on and say, yeah, he's talking to you, but he's not being honest. He's being transparent, but that's not actually being, he's not telling the truth. We can debate that on a different platform, but he does speak to the people very frequently and quite often. Let me go back to the box. What does that say? The real criminals, the Biden crime family. Well, other than the couple of issues that Hunter Biden got pardoned for, where all of you're saying the Biden crime family, where are all the crimes? He hasn't, the Biden family hasn't been convicted of any damn thing. So where are all of the crimes that the alleged Biden, in fact, not only have they not been convicted of anything, Joe Biden ain't even been charged with anything. So Biden crime family, where is it at? And by the way, I will say this, particularly with President Biden, any perceived or alleged crimes that Joe Biden, not his son, but I guess you could probably say his son to some degree too, but we're talking about Joe Biden, any perceived or alleged crimes that Joe Biden committed, all of the stuff they're accusing him of doing, all of that stuff happened before Trump took office in 2016. So the question is obvious. Why didn't Trump, when he was in office, go after him? Why didn't he prosecute him? They're not charging Biden of committing any crimes from 2020 to 2024. They're bringing up shit that happened before then. So why didn't the Trump administration go after him? He didn't go after Hillary either, and he should have, says Keys Fish. Yeah, if you're promising to drain the swamp, promising to clear out corruption, and once you get in office, it turns out that it was just all a bunch of empty promises, I guess I'd question, how did he get to leave on the statement of promises made, promises kept? He didn't keep any of his promises in regards to draining the swamp. I'm going to go to the box, tap the screen. I had to reset the live. So tap the screen, get the likes up to about 5,000. I'll go straight to the box. Dencal, good evening, but say good afternoon. Dencal, good afternoon. Now, we talked on this subject, Dencal, so it's not going to come across as anything new to you. I had to take the live down early, but you and I kind of discussed this already.
Which part? About the pardon itself?
Yeah. Well, did we talk about Christian nationalism? Because I'm trying to figure out what the hell that is also.
No, earlier I was, you was about to bring me up, but you had picked somebody else, so I didn't get a chance to talk to you earlier.
Okay. So in regards to that statement you often hear now, when you hear the term Christian nationalism, what is that in your opinion?
I think that's an attempt to kind of make people believe and live by a certain ideology that comes from one specific religion.
So you believe it's forcing a particular religion on the people?
I don't
forcing is kind of a, it's kind of a hard thing to prove. But I mean, when you say like you want to teach it in all of the schools and you want to make it a part of the curriculum, like I don't think it's a hard thing to be able to say.
Okay. So you believe what's happening in the likes of Oklahoma, where they're putting Bibles in schools, you believe that is a sign of Christian nationalism?
Yeah, in Texas also.
What are they doing in Texas? I know they want the 10 Commandments up there. What else are they doing?
I would have to look it up. I seen it the other day, but I'm not really clear on it. But it goes in line with the same thing that's going on in Oklahoma. They're pushing the Bible really hard in those states.
Mm. Do you think? Because I get a lot of callers who say that it's actually, the country was created. We were a Christian-based country from our founding, and it is actually something that would be beneficial to the children. That if you put Christianity and religion back in schools, we might produce better children. Do you subscribe to that theory?
No, I mean that's antithetical to what the founders were saying in the first place. That's not what they said. We're trying to recreate what they said. Most of them were deists. They didn't believe that we should be withholding to any one religion. That was part of the reason why we broke away from England in the first place. So I don't understand why we're trying to recreate it and saying this is the type of society we were, because we weren't. We weren't. And the more that we try to live up to the principles that we were created upon, which were freedom of religion, now we go into, well, we just want it to be one specific religion. That's not what we were. That was not what this country was made of. I mean, yes, I understand it was the predominant religion at that particular time.
True.
But heck, so was slavery. We can't just say, well, that's the way we were built, so therefore we should always stay that way. No, we're built as a melting pot. We accept people from all over to come here and to create a better life for themselves. We didn't come here to say, well, if you come here in order to have a great life, then you have to think this way or you have to think that way. Nobody says anything about the Chinatowns that's in every major city, or the Polish towns or whatever. Nobody ever goes and says, look, those people that are live in those Puerto Rican neighborhoods, they should just speak this way and they should just believe in this religion. That's not the way.
But now in the comments, I got Paul Smith. He makes an interesting point. He says, if you take God out of the equation, what would you put in his place? So in other words, if we've kind of swayed away from religion in this country, and I guess the suggestion is we fill the void with nothing, or we fill the void with sin and problems. How do you view that? Because he makes an interesting point, because we did have more God in our society than we do now.
Right, but when there was more God in our country, we were hanging people on Sundays and going out to watch it as an entertainment. That doesn't, just because you have more God in your situation doesn't make you better. There are other gods that believe in peace. There's Buddha, the Hindus. There's all types of religions that don't that have never imposed the type of violence that Christianity has on society.
What do you mean by violence? What kind of violence has Christianity imposed on our society?
Manifest destiny.
Elaborate.
Where the people back in the old country said, God has told us that country, America, belongs to us. And so you have the right to slaughter those Indians because God said so. That was manifest destiny.
Yeah.
That was them using God as a tool to slaughter hundreds of thousands of millions. I don't know how many people they eliminated.
In the name of God.
The Crusades, it's all kinds of things that we have used Christianity to do. The worst things in history. So I don't even understand why they're saying if we replace Christianity, what are we going to replace it with? I mean, we can replace it with nothing. We could replace it with atheism. Atheists have never killed thousands and millions of people.
That's a great point. Because some folks will feel like if you don't have God in your life, you'll lose your moral standing, your moral compass will be off. But you do make a good point. It ain't like atheists are known for oppressing or killing a bunch of people. They're actually not known for doing that.
All of the biggest slaughters in the history of this world have come from religious people.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they're saying like we have to use religion to guide us morally, when morally for 400 years in this country it was people that was going to church and coming back home and whipping slaves and raping them and having babies by, like, I don't understand what they're trying to say.
Well, I get your point about not knowing what they're trying to say, but they are indeed saying it. And under Trump, it does seem like he is favorable to it, at the very least states' rights. So states that want to, implement religion and intertwine it with government and public life and schools, it doesn't seem like Trump's going to get in the way of that.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think he's going to get, I don't believe that he has, as much, like, he doesn't really care about those types of things. Like, he wants to achieve a specific objective, and once he get there, he doesn't care like what happens in the wake. Like if he uses the Christians to get into office, he's going to say, okay, you guys help me, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys what you want. I don't think because it doesn't affect him either way. He doesn't care. Right. He's not a religious man in heart. He doesn't care about like what the Bible says or nothing. I mean, he literally took the Bible, and did something blasphemous. Like, he sold the Bible to worshipers. They don't have a problem with that. He included it. He included the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in something when the Bible says you should not put any other writings with the Bible. It says it.
Why do you think the evangelicals did not catch on to that?
Because they don't care either, as long as they get what they want.
So
it's not really about this. It's not about their religion. I mean, you had the most religious man, I think, in the history, in Mike Pence, and they turned on him because he disagreed with Trump about what his responsibilities were as far as, saying who the winner of an election was.
Wow. And Mike Pence was indeed very religious. That's a really good point. Wow. So in other words, it's kind of just one big religious grift. Sounds like what you're saying.
I mean, he used the most religious. I mean, this guy wouldn't even sit down with a woman in his office with the door closed. I mean, Mike Pence is a real religious dude. And although I disagree with him and probably all of his public policies, like, I knew that he was a real Christian man. Yeah. And for all of the Christians to turn their backs on him because he said he consulted with constitutional lawyers and they said that he could not do what Trump asked him to do. They call him a rhino. They say he's never really,
They threw him in a garbage can. They essentially threw Mike Pence in the garbage can.
Yes, they did. And they do to this day. They say he was never really, even though Trump picked him. I never seen people that have seen the judgment of this man, who he's picked all of these people, and all of the people, the moment they disagree with him, now they become unethical, they're pieces of garbage, they're rhinos. He picked them.
Well, let me push back. Here, let me push back with this. Princess, that says Driscoll in the comments, says, Mike Pence actively worked against the Republican message. He was a rhino. He pretended to be something he's not. Now, I don't know what the message he pushed back, but I'll give that to you.
If he voted, if he participated in 99.99% of everything Trump wanted to do, and with this 0.01%, he says, "Well, no, I can't change the result of the election. That's not within my purview or my power." How does he become? I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Up till January 5th. Mike Pence was, I mean, even Trump was saying, I like the guy, but if he don't do what I'm asking, I might not be so happy. So up to January 5th, MAGA was pretty satisfied with Mike Pence. And then as of January 6th, he turned into, just a piece of garbage. So I don't know how that works either.
And Cheney also. What's her name?
Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney.
Yeah, Liz Cheney. I'm talking about the 96.9% voting with him. The moment January 6th happened and she said, look, I can't support you anymore. Oh, she was never one of us. She was always, like, I don't get it. Like, her whole life has been in support of the Republican Party and their goals.
It kind of reminds me of the 90s, I think maybe 80s song by Janet Jackson, What Have You Done For Me Lately? So I'm good with you as long as you're good with me. But the minute you screw, or it's like, you take care of a lazy family member. As long as you're helping them out, they like you. The minute you say no to them, they forget everything else you did don't count. That's what it sounds like. The minute you go against them, everything you've done up to that point means nothing. It's this one time, and that is making you the enemy now. That's what it sounds like to me. Before I move on from you, though, January 6th, pardons for the protesters. What say you?
I think he's going to do it. I think this gave him space to be able to do it because now he gets to say, well, Biden, he pardoned his son, so therefore it's okay for me to, to do whatever he said he was going to do anyway. It just gives him a wide berth to be able to do it. And I'm happy that Joe Biden pardoned his son. I think it's the humane thing to do. I think yes he did. This is one time. Well, maybe not one time. Maybe there was a couple times that we can say yes he lied about what he said. But if I apply that same standard to Trump, like I can't even explain how many times Trump has lied to us and went back on it. And to say that somebody using the pardon power is somehow indicative of their whole administration is contradictory to Trump because he's pardoned so many criminals and I mean just criminals that were his personal friends and family that I can't believe that they're saying they're upset because Biden pardoned his son when this guy is pardoned Flynn and Stone and Bannon and his daughter's father-in-laws, both of them. And now he's actually put one of those guys.
One of them is back in the White House. Yeah, I heard about that.
Back in the White House. I can't even understand why we're having this conversation. Well, I understand it because those Code 45 or Code 47 members now, they're bound to support no matter what he does. So I get it.
Be cautious. That is your president you're speaking of. Respect him. I got to move it on, then, Cal.
Yeah, I respect it, but you know what? In this land that we have, look, I've been fortunate that this will be the first time in American history that I believe when we have this situation that we have that's going on in this country, it'll be the first time that black people are not in the crosshairs of the government. And so we have a little free berth to be able to.
Who's in the crosshairs?
Hispanic people.
Yeah.
This is the first time we get the opportunity to say,
I like that. And I actually do agree with that. I'll talk about another side. Then, Cal, appreciate you coming through.
All right, peace.
All right. And I actually do agree with him. I've said that before, that I think that if it's one minority group that has less to worry about, it is black people. I think the biggest group is obviously the Hispanics. And I'm not just talking about illegal immigrants. I know some folks are going to say it's just the illegal immigrants. Well, they got to find out you're here illegally first. And that's going to affect a lot of legalized, actual American-born people of Hispanic descent. So the Hispanics are going to get it. Number two, transgender. They're going to get it as well. Transgender are going to have it really bad. I don't know if they're going to protest in hopes that they can use the right bathroom or play for the right team, but it ain't going to go well if they do. But transgender is certainly also in the crosshairs. African Americans, not so much, as my last caller said. Simply worthless, says Quint. State how that is. I'm going to ask you folks, by the way, also tap the screen for my YouTube and vertical folks. Also, get the likes up. Feel free to smash that like button. You know how the program is run. We don't block, ban, or censor. By the way, tapping the screen, smashing that like button helps out the algorithm. It does bring more MAGA to the program because my FYP is set generally for the right, but I get a lot of folks on the left because some folks on the right aren't really a big fan of the free speech forum. We're going to be critical of Trump as well as sometimes speaking on his behalf. And some folks don't favor being critical of Trump at all. So I do sometimes lose some MAGA, and I lose some liberals too for that. You're giving Trump too much of the benefit of the doubt. I get that type of shit all the time too. But that's how we run the program. We do believe in trying to address all sides, so to speak. So tap the screen. Den Cow, appreciate the money gun. Thank you very much. And the support for the program. There are millions of black illegal aliens. BP Slick, you think it's that many? You think there are currently millions, quote unquote, millions of blacks in this country that are here illegally? I don't buy that. I mean, Trump said there's 18 million total. Millions? No, I don't believe that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Hunter claims that he's been clean for 5 years. I don't believe that, says Emery. I can't say if Hunter Biden's been clean or not. I don't think jail, though. I don't believe that jail is the place for anybody that has a substance abuse problem, because jail does nothing really to address your substance abuse problem. A lot of folks who go into prison, become incarcerated, when they have these addictions, they look forward to the first day they get out so they can get high again, because the penal system does virtually nothing to cure that. That's not the place for that, in my opinion. That's just warehousing somebody and keeping them in a holding pattern until they can get out and get high again. Will G, Trump again throwing mud on people after people have been gracious to him. He is known for doing that. Remember Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough going to meet Trump in Mar-a-Lago? The liberals were hammering them. The two of the mainstays on MSNBC went down to meet Trump in Mar-a-Lago for whatever reason, saved their network, saved their own hide. Whatever reason they went down to meet Trump, Trump got on social media the next day and trashed those folks. Made them look awful. Like, why would you go and meet this guy? And then after you meet him, he goes on social media and just says, he said that Joe was begging to come down there and he shouldn't let him come. Just said all kinds of trashy shit about them, which I'm assuming if they could go back and do it all over again, they would not. Because not only did Trump trash them for going down to meet him and trying to, I guess, extend some form of an apology and some kind of friendship with him, they also got trashed by their supporters for doing it. So they lost out on both ends. Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough meeting with Trump did not get any accolades from liberals, and the Republicans don't think shit of them either. So it was a bad choice for them to go down to Mar-a-Lago. There was no good in that. Continuing on with the program. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get us up to 20,000. Hopefully we can make that happen. Continuing on with the box. We'll go to Kimmy, I think that says. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Or better yet, good evening, Kimmy. Are you there? Kimmy, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know what's going on. We'll move it on. Sometimes people put the phone down or whatever. Delita says, I'm here. Well, come in the box. We'll bring you up. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You can be critical of anybody, including me. Yours truly. I enjoyed a dissenting opinion. But the substance abuse isn't the reason he was in jail. Fair enough, but if you don't address the substance abuse, they're probably coming back to jail, because when you get released, usually on, what is it, probation or parole, whatever the reason they not engaging in illegal substances is usually part of that. So if a person is an addict and you release them and you didn't do nothing about the addiction, they're going to violate parole or probation or whatever, because they're going to go right back to doing what they were doing. Can't banned it till 12/6. Well, delete it, you got to type it in the comments if you're banned, and then I can do about that. Sorry about that. Continuing on looking in the comment section, I do want to, because no one is above the law, right? That's what you've been screaming for the last 3 years. Why does that change now because it's his son? His son is not above the law, Roy Chang. I believe that Hunter Biden is guilty. He was found guilty in a court of law. You've never heard me state on any of my lives that Hunter Biden should be let go or whatever the case may be. I do believe it was a witch hunt, but it's not that he's innocent. Like, for instance, let's say, for instance, I got a law enforcement official in my neighborhood that doesn't like me. So I'm jaywalking one day, and he grabs me and gives me a citation for it. Yeah, it's a witch hunt. He doesn't like my ass. He would let anybody else get away with jaywalking, but he doesn't like me, so he gives me a citation. Yeah, maybe so, but I did jaywalk. I actually did commit the violation. So officially, he can give me that. Yeah, it's a witch hunt, so to speak. He wouldn't have done it to somebody else, but it's not like he made some shit up. I was jaywalking. That's what applies to Hunter Biden, and I believe on Trump's case, the lying on a loan application with Trump is very similar to that. Is that I believe if Trump was not running for president, or if he was a presidential, personable president, I don't think that case would have ever came to muster. If Trump was a decent guy, so to speak, and I'm not bashing the guy, because even MAGA says that they like his policies, but sometimes he can be an asshole. So I'm going along that line. If Trump was not an asshole, I believe Letitia James is I think that's the one that got him in New York with the lying on a bank application and all that. I think they would have contacted his attorney, which would have been Michael Cohen at the time, stated their case. We found that you lied on some documents, or in that case, they would have said misrepresented or exaggerated, or maybe they took you out of context. They would have been on his side. Michael Cohen may have likely made a deal with the New York prosecutors. Okay, we'll give you $1 million or whatever the fine is for it, and it would have went away. It would have went away. There would have been no felony charges, or, well, in that case, it was just money. It wasn't, but all of that wouldn't have happened. It happened because he's president, running for president, and he's treating people like shit. Just like with Hunter Biden's case, people didn't like his dad because Hunter Biden had a sweetheart deal also. And the right was able to make that deal go away in hopes of putting him behind bars. So in both cases, I don't think either man is innocent, though. Trump did do what they accused him of. So did Hunter Biden. But they got treated in ways that they both likely would not have if they weren't in the limelight, if they were not being targeted. Trump is claiming what happened to him makes him a victim of a witch hunt, but he's no problem with it happening to Hunter Biden. The same thing's happening to your adversary, and you're okay with it. MAGA using illegal as a dog whistle to throw out every brown person ever. Racist as usual. Damn. Will G says that MAGA using the term illegal, like illegal immigrant, for instance. He's saying that MAGA, when they use the term illegal, that's actually a dog whistle so that they can throw out every brown person ever. And he follows up by saying they're simply being racist as usual. I don't know if they can, the way the term illegal is being used now is not even accurate, because a lot of folks believe that Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio are illegal, and they're not here illegally. They're here legally. And Trump has talked about they got to go too. So there's certainly something there. Might be similar to what Will is suggesting. He also says MAGA is ignoring all the ghouls Trump let out on his first term. Damn, I've never heard him referred to as ghouls. G-H-O-U-L, ghouls. Damn. All right, let me go back to the box. Ghouls. American Ninja. Good evening. Welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing, brother? I'm a theoretical physicist and a data scientist at the University of Wisconsin. I support Trump, and I'm from the south side of Chicago.
All right, all right. Now and I say on the program all the time, there are legitimate reasons, even for a person of color from the south side of Chicago like myself. There are people, and I'm not, because I don't believe in giving police immunity from prosecution, and Trump promised to do that. So I'm not a Trump supporter, but there are legitimate reasons for someone else to do so that happens to be a person of color such as yourself. So fair enough. Why did you favor Trump over Kamala?
So Kamala Harris, she been the vice president for the last 4 years, and Joe Biden has conducted more criminal activity under his administration than I ever saw in my 29 years of life. I believe Biden was more criminal than Bush and Obama. Now, Trump criminal too, but man, Biden topped it, dude.
Give me some examples of some of the crimes that you believe Biden committed.
So for number one, Biden, so I love education. I'm going to stand on education, number one. Biden and Kamala Harris, they uplift everybody in the U.S. education system. They uplift everybody else other than black people. No lie. The black people, we standing in the back. We getting everything last. They not trying to uplift us in education.
You said, wait, hold on. You said they're criminals. Give me something. Give me an actual crime.
That's criminal activity if you ain't trying to educate America.
Then essentially you're saying that America's been criminal since day. I mean, you realize that most of America's history, you and I couldn't go to a hell of a lot of schools. So you said America's been a country that's founded on criminality from day one then.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So
I believe that.
Give me another crime. I've never heard of what you just said, it being referred to as a crime, but give me another one.
Well, under Biden and Trump administration, it's a statistic in the U.S. education system right now that say that a colored person in America dies by police brutality or illegal use of force every 28 hours now. So under Trump and Joe Biden, they saying that in the social sciences. So under Trump and Joe Biden, black people were still dying, but it's like Joe Biden, when he got in there, it's like he made it worse for us. No lie, I feel like Joe Biden made it way worse for black people. I saw like what was going on geopolitically and economically. Joe Biden made it harder for us. When Trump was in there and I was going on road trips, I was paying like $2-3 at the pump. When Biden went in there and after the 180-day mark, I was paying $5-6 at the pump.
Okay, hold on. You're giving me economic benefits of Trump. A lot of folks believe Trump's economy was better than Biden's, like you're saying, but you started out by saying crimes. I'm still not hearing official crimes that Biden committed.
The biggest crime I heard from Biden's own mouth was when he said, "You not black if you don't vote for him." He said that he lost my vote. That was the biggest hate crime committed against black people in America in modern history. He said, "You not black if you don't vote for him. You not black if you ain't got your education."
So you wanted him arrested for that?
He should have been impeached. No lie. He said that about black America. He should have been walked out of there. He must have been asleep while he was talking.
Oh my God. It does go to show though, when you suggested that Biden had committed a bunch of crimes, you don't have actual crimes. He's done things you don't like, but you don't have a bunch of crimes, don't sound like.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a huge critic of the government. They automatically criminal to me. I just picked the best criminal out the bunch. I felt like it was Trump.
So you see where Biden did things harmful to black people. Has Trump done anything harmful to blacks as you brought up?
Yeah, Trump kind of vicious with the police immunity act and him trying to implement that. And no lie, Trump kind of hurt my heart when he said they start looting we start the S word.
Yeah.
And when Trump said that, he destroyed his own presidency.
But you voted for him.
I'll be honest with you. I voted for him over Biden and Kamala because I didn't want to see another Democrat in power.
Okay. So you lean right naturally. You are a Republican.
To the republic for which it stands. I'm 29 years old. Every day in grammar school, I took an oath to the republic. You know, so I just feel like default, my vote was going to automatically go to Trump after all of the criminal activity hit the media.
All right. Okay, fair enough. I got to move it on, but before I do you believe that January 6th protesters should be pardoned?
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't really get too deep in politics to speak on that, but I believe personally, them people was acting like animals, and I feel like, you know, it's up to the powers that's in position to do what they gonna do about it. And
what if it was up to you? What would you do?
If it was up to me, I'll be honest with you. I'm for the people. That's why I never tried to be a politician in my life.
What does that mean, though? If you seen those folks, the way they, as you say, they acted like animals at the Capitol building, you say you're for the people, so you would be in favor of what they did?
I wouldn't be in favor of it, but my heart for what I learned under the Constitution, I'm not too big on punishing U.S. citizens unless it's for like pedophilia shit or like mass murder shit like that. But them storming the Capitol, all of that, like Martin Luther King said, them people did that because America been oppressed for so long and they lost voices. So, you know, that's how America react. Okay. That's how they react, bro. No lie, I'm for the people, bro. When it come down to the people committing criminal activity, sometimes they gonna have to walk, because every time a politician commit criminal activity, they turn a blind eye to it and they get to walk. Let the people walk.
That's a very, I've never heard that perspective. Last question before I move it on. Who won the 2020 election?
I'll be honest with you. I feel like Joe Biden rightfully won that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't like to talk about politics, but I want you to hear my view, brother. I feel like Joe Biden equally and rightfully won that election because the backlash Trump faced under his presidency. George Floyd died. Not only did the George Floyd mass riots happen, they had looting, it was total destruction, COVID. So in American, I wrote a book about this. It's called Superior Humanity, New World Order. My name, Chakotay Johnson, is published on Amazon. Oh. If you type in Chakotay Johnson, Superior Humanity, New World Order, I study societal changes. I study shifts in calculus and differential variables.
And you are a black Republican.
I'm an independent.
That ain't what you've been saying. All right, I gotta move it on. Listen, this is our first time talking, obviously, correct?
Yeah, I've been watching your channel for a minute though, brother.
Thank you. Well, don't be a stranger. I'm definitely, the door's open to you, Tim. Come on back through anytime, man.
Okay, thanks for having me, bro.
All right, appreciate it. Now, see, Moogly, thank you for the super chat. Moogly says, what the hell is this guy talking about? Be nice to my guest, Moogly. Poor Africans get to Colombia, then journey up. That's not millions of them. Takes 7 months to, yeah. I don't believe there are millions of illegal immigrants here. Somebody stated that in the comments. Millions, no, wait. I don't believe there are millions of black illegal immigrants here. How the hell did they get over here? I mean, because I guess you could say dark folks that came from Hispanic countries. I mean, because there are some of those countries south of the border where people are damn near as dark as I am, I guess. But if you're talking about folks from Africa, there's definitely not millions of them here illegally. I don't think there are millions of black illegal immigrants here at all. And I also, as I stated, before I go back to the box, I think the right lumps a lot of folks into the illegal immigrant category that shouldn't be there. I mean, because at the end of the day, the asylum seekers are illegal immigrants to the right as well, and they're not here illegally. I brought up the Haitian migrants a minute ago. They lump a lot of people up and throw them all. Just get rid of all of these damn people. It's kind of the mindset. We can debate that, but they're not illegal. They're not technically illegal. They're not officially here illegally. Going back to the box and tap the screen. Can we get 30,000? Can we make that happen? Tap the screen, get the likes up. It's always the loudest who is wrong. Says, make me king. Some would say that. Some would agree with you there. Real quick, I'm trying to find, we are going to find out. Says, yeah, we are going to find out. We'll know that soon. There's a ton of Africans and Caribbeans. Yeah, but he said millions. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. But I'm 100% okay with addressing people that are in this country that have no legal standing to be here. I'm 100% okay with that. I think in some cases, a pathway to residency could be entertained. I don't think 100% of them should just be thrown out. I don't believe in the really hardcore, unsympathetic approach. But yeah, if you're here undocumented, I won't even say, I'll say illegal too, but undocumented, illegal. Or if you're here and you actually are going through the motions and coming here legally and you commit a violent felony, I think you should be deported. That's what I faced when I was when I was overseas and I was waiting for my residency and all that shit to go through. You were told if you commit a violent felony, they're gonna send you back to America. And I knew some dudes that got kicked out. I was hanging with some New Zealanders. I was hanging with some islanders, some of the Pacific Islanders, and they got in the club. We were heavy in the clubs back then and got into some bar fights and shit like that. Broke a glass or whatever and, injured somebody. They got sent home. They got kicked out. So I'm 100% behind getting rid of, as Trump would say, rapists and murderers. That's fine. But I think the issue is the right makes it sound like there are far more of these people than there really are. That's the only difference I have. Looking in the comments, he talked about politics until it came in 2020. Go one with the BS. Yeah, he was an interesting call. TFM Constitutional Press. Are you ready for our call? This is Sheldon. I don't know who that is. Sheldon, I'm ready for your call. Come on over at TikTok. I'll bring you right up. Let me go back to the box. And I was looking for Fuzzard. Good evening, one of my subscribers. We always get our subscribers first digs, the few we have. Fuzzard, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good to see you, my friend.
Hey.
I'm going to give you props. I'm going to give you props right off. The one thing you may have ever get right, I'm just kidding, is that he was going to pardon him after the election. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I did. To me, okay, you're calling the guy sleepy, dementia. I mean, you're calling him everything under the sun. So at that point, he has nothing to lose by pardoning his son. You don't have any more insults to give him. So why would he leave him in there? I mean, you've already called him a criminal. The Biden crime family has already been said a million times. There's nothing to lose at this point. You're not going to improve your legacy with MAGA, no matter what the hell you do.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with him, and I'm all right with the pardon. Yeah, did he lie? Sure. Did he have justifiable? Did he justify it? I believe his justification was correct.
Yeah, I do too.
The only reason why he 100% was targeted just because it was Joe Biden's son. No one else has ever been convicted of those crimes.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But a little, not quite on the topic. Did you, by any chance, read the letter? I should know her name, and I apologize that I don't. But the Mexican president to...
No, I haven't read the whole letter. I did play some of the... We talked about it yesterday on the program about her correcting Trump about the border closement. I haven't read the whole thing on it yet.
Oh, the letter it's priceless. You've got to read it. I mean, she smokes him. I mean,
so they're not going to be. So they're not going to be friends.
Not if he puts those tariffs on. But not only that, yeah, not a chance. But in the letter, she talks about the F smug problem, right?
She talks about the what?
Fentanyl.
Oh, okay, all right, the drug problem, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I tried to.
Oh, you know something. And I heard somebody say that when Trump has been blaming the southern border for sending, as you're talking about, hard drugs and child trafficking and all of that to our country, she countered by saying, well, look at all of the guns and deaths you're causing in our nation, which is, and I brought that up yesterday on the show. That's an excellent comeback because, yeah, Mexico is not known for making firearms. All of that's coming. Those people are getting, just like Americans, he's claiming are getting fentanyl or whatever, getting it from them. They're getting guns from us, and people are dying by the hand of those guns.
But not just that. And I talk about this all the time. They don't have an addiction problem there with these drugs. They don't.
Well, they can't afford it. Probably.
That's our problem.
Yeah, they probably can't afford it.
Well, who knows? Well, I mean, one way or another, we have the addiction problem. That's our. Oh my. Sorry.
Yeah. The reason why they probably don't have an addiction problem is it probably falls under the category of don't get high on your own supply. Why would you let them get high when you can sell this shit for 10, 20 times as much in America? You're not going to get access to any of this because we can make a fortune off of Americans selling this. So it probably ain't nothing available for it unless you're a wealthier, somebody down there that's got some money. Now, I would assume there may be some Americans, expats, that may live in Costa Rica or Panama or Mexico that's getting high. But the average Mexican citizen, you're not going to be able to afford it because the cartels know I can sell this in America for so much. Why would I sell it to you?
Right. But so this is where like you have to start at. I'm sorry, this is my cat hanging out. You have to address the problem within. The problem within is the addictions. The only reason why that stuff's coming to the border is because there's a market here.
Right. I've said that before.
Get rid of the market. And not only that, the unalivings that happen, a lot of them are because they're trying to get that material here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and not only that, we're supplying them with the pew-pews to do it. But if you haven't read the entire letter, anyone in the chat, if you guys haven't, there's a lot more to it than.
So it's an actual letter. It's not her actually talking. Well, she's in Spanish.
It's anyway. A letter. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Spanish.
It's a letter. It's. I believe it was on X that she made it public. But it's a letter.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but I mean, I can definitely believe her statement for one aspect, which is your guns are coming into our country and killing a lot of people. I mean, because if we're going to talk about their drugs coming over here, our guns is coming, because talk about the cartel or any of these groups, they wouldn't have the power they have without our smuggled firearms in that country. So, you know, and like I think they're claiming, she said, we don't make these guns. They're coming from you.
And he's trying to put a 25% tariff. And he was doing that. He said that. He ran on it. And then all of a sudden he realized it wasn't very popular because you can't do it to Mexico. You can't do it to Canada. Why? Because his agreement. He made that agreement. The USMCA. That's his agreement.
Well, let's be clear. After seeing the Iran deal, the Paris Accord, his threats with NATO, he's shown he'll break a deal if he don't like it at that time.
I understand, but this one he actually said though. What was I gonna say? I was making another point. I can't remember.
No, you were just saying he couldn't impose the tariffs because that's the deal he made.
Right, but it's not just that. It's
And you said he can't do it to Mexico.
Well, yeah, there was something else that she had said about it, but she's basically we'll retaliate. I mean, you understand if you want to try to do that, we'll retaliate, and we're just going to come back at you. There's plenty of things. Oh, that's what it was. It's the fact that he said he was going to do this. He ran on it. I'm going to do this and this and this. And then all of a sudden he found out it wasn't very popular, especially with Mexico and Canada. So he said, well, I'm doing it as a leverage to get rid of the cartels. I'm doing it as a leverage to get rid of the smugs coming across the border. I'm doing it as leverage. So if you get rid of that, then maybe we'll lift it. Okay, so that's your reason for Mexico. Why are you doing Canada?
Well, the claim was the same. In fact, his new border czar has claimed that more terrorists cross the northern border than they do the south. That's what he just said. He's on video saying that. That the guy he's bringing out of retirement to be his border czar.
So when was our last terrorist attack?
I don't know, because Trump wanted a Muslim ban citing the same shit, and it's like, how many Muslims are coming over to this country and committing acts of terror since 9/11? There hasn't been. Has there been any other? The Boston bomb. Those are some folks coming from Eastern Europe, but It's very rare that somebody comes in this country. And by the way, the 9/11 people came here legally. So, I mean, it's something over nothing, in my opinion.
I agree. And if you actually want to break it down, in my opinion, our most recent terrorist attack was January 6th. That was an attack within. And they, in my opinion, are terrorists.
The Love Fest? The Love Fest?
The Love Fest, yeah, the shit on the walls. That one. Yeah, I know when people come to my house, my family comes to my house, that people come visit, I ask them all to leave their shit smear just to say hello. I mean, come on.
He said it was a good day, though. That was a good day. And I see the comments. Randy says, "Oh shit," but he said it was a good day.
Yeah, I know. And was it Jim Jordan or somebody? Oh, they were just doing a tour. They were just walking through.
Yeah, they did say that too. Well, the problem is there are some cameras that show people being let in and being like QAnon Shaman was standing there with several law enforcement officials, kind of just letting him roam around. And they're using that to say, well, see, these people were being peaceful and they let him in and gave him a tour. But I think it's pretty obvious there was no tour going on that day and that these folks were overwhelmed and they just decided it would be probably more advantageous to let them go and do what they want. Otherwise, we can fight them and potentially all get slaughtered.
So not only that, Tim, and I bartended for a while and what have you, and I know you, I think you bounced or something like that in Australia. Sure. I could have shown you bar fights where a camera was looking at three people sitting quietly while the fight was happening on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Okay. That corner of the bar was fine. Did you see that guy get his lip busted open or ripped off? I mean, come on.
Well, and also, too, with the Capitol Police, I will say this. They all have radios on them. So you know their radios are screaming when people asking for backup, and they know half of the building is being overrun on the other side. So it makes no sense to suggest that they're giving tours. They know half of the building is under wraps, is being invaded. So why the hell would they go on with a tour under a situation like that when people are calling for backup and shit like that? They clearly were outmanned, and they just decided to stand down to de-escalate the situation.
I mean, the shaman, you understand? Yeah, they were walking with him. They didn't just let him in and walk freely. Right. They walked with him and make sure he didn't do anything crazy.
Yeah, that is true.
So I mean, it wasn't a complete just free for all. I don't know. I guess that's all I got.
All right, and before I move it on, Angle Fan News in the comments said, "Did you see the unarmed lady get shot?" Talking about Ashli Babbitt. Do you think that was a justifiable shooting?
Tim, don't ask me this question. She got it. She had it coming. Yeah. She had it coming. She's the one person that got closer than anyone else to the vice president that day. She got closer to him. That she got within 40 yards. I think it was less than that. 40 yards of him, and she was told don't do it. Hey, she got the ultimate vaccination, didn't she?
Oh, damn. All right, Fuzzer, you win this round.
All right.
Good talk.
Always good talking to you.
Absolutely a pleasure. Same. Says she had it coming, got the ultimate vaccination. Damn. She had a warning shot and kept going. I don't think he fired a warning shot. I don't think there was a warning shot. I think it was because I played the clip on here several times. There was a yell. The people that were trying to break into where they were saw him pull out a gun and yelled, "He's got a gun!" and pow, you hear the shot go off. I don't think there was any warning shot fired. In fact, they're not trained to fire warning shots. And law enforcement doesn't fire warning shots. It's because people were like, well, why didn't he shoot in the leg, or why didn't he fire a warning shot? No, law enforcement don't do that. I mean, how many times you've heard crazy ass liberals talk about, instead of killing this guy, you should have shot him in the leg? Look in the comments of how folks that lean right answer those topics. But all of a sudden, when it comes to Ashli Babbitt, now you should be aiming for legs and warning shots and shit. Will G, they are talking about black people being illegal because they are not serving under white people. If slavery was still up and black people were still in chains, all would be fine to these races. Damn, you attacking my whole audience, Will? Thank you for the support, by the way. Says they are talking about black people. Well, because some people are saying there's somebody in the comments said there's 1 million black illegal immigrants in this country. I don't believe it's anywhere near that high. I don't believe it. Certainly when it comes to rapists and murderers and all that, I certainly don't believe that. I don't believe it's anywhere near that high. But because a lot of the people that come here that are black, that are immigrants, are either coming from, somebody said the Caribbean, like Haiti. They represent a decent sized population. I guess they're eating cats and dogs. Haiti and Somalia. A lot of, like the Minnesota, for instance, North Dakota, they got a lot of Somalian immigrants. I used to be an over-the-road driver. I'll go back to the box shortly. And thank you guys that are tapping the screen. Can we get to 40? 40,000? Make that happen. Tap the screen, get the lights up. When I used to be an over-the-road driver, I would stop in Planet Fitness to get a walk or lift a little weights all over the country. You can go to any Planet Fitness. And I was in Fargo one time. And I'm in Fargo, about to get on the treadmill, and I'm not like, damn, there's a whole lot of black people in this. Fargo, North Dakota. Who the hell? Like, why are there so many black people in Fargo? So I started, I'm on the treadmill, and one dude gets next to me, he getting on. So I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he was hesitant to say anything back. When he did, he could barely speak English, and he had an accent. And I could, like, this dude is from Africa. So when I found out a lot of them, there's a lot of Somali immigrants in Fargo. Because I'm like, damn, all these black people in North Dakota, since when does that shit happen? But they were not African Americans from my type, I guess I'd say my type of African Americans, because if you're a Somalian that's immigrated here, you're going to be an African American as well eventually, but different type. They're not descendants of the slave trade. How about that? And yeah. So 1 million of them? I don't think so. I don't believe it's 1 million black illegal immigrants in this country. Maybe 1 million immigrants, but illegal? No. Which is kind of what Will is alluding to, that they're using illegal as some kind of dog whistle to otherize them. Maybe, maybe not. But that's what I'm kind of understanding where Will's coming from with that, because I don't think it's 1 million black illegal immigrants in this country. Will also says it's why liberal was created. President Monroe wanted all the black people to go because he and his fellow white. Okay. You're saying this is something I've never heard of, by the way. You said this is why liberals were the word liberal was. This is why. Liberia. You're talking about the country. This is why Liberia was created. I thought it said liberal. This is why Liberia was created. President Monroe wanted all the black people to go because he and his fellow white people couldn't stand to live amongst black people after slavery was abolished. Haven't heard it stated that way, but my guess is there probably is some validity to that, because I do know once slavery got abolished, people wanted black people to leave. I mean, we're not getting anything free out of you now, and you're pushing towards equality. I didn't know Liberia came out of that, though. And I see, Will, you do say Google why Liberia was created. I'm dying to do that. If I wasn't hosting the show, I would do that right. I'm dying to do that. I did not know that. This is why I like to have a open free speech forum. You learn shit. I didn't know that. And I see the comments. Hands the crippled Klaus says not right now. Before I continue, we'll go back to the actual topic. But this is why I'm not a fan of censoring speech, because a lot of this shit is what you don't get taught in schools. Because if you tell him what he is stating, whether I'll find out whether what he's saying is true or not when I look it up. But if what he's saying is true, it does start to make America look really dark from that time. This is the kind of stuff they kind of want to keep away from children's little brains growing up. Will also says they will say 1 million blacks now, and then it will be 40 million next time. You painting a frightening picture, Will. All right, let me go back to the box. Liberia, huh? I did not know that. That's very interesting information. Twisted 77, one of my subscribers. If they from the Caribbean, their ancestors were slaves too, willing. That is true. The Caribbean, for the most part, the boat just got there first or after. That's why when they were saying Haitian migrants are not, when they were saying Kamala Harris is Jamaican and Indian and she's not American, people were pointing out the Jamaicans are part of the same slave trade as African Americans in this country. Twisted 77, good evening.
Hey, we got cut off before.
Yeah, I ended up having to step away. The thing went down, and then I had to run back to the makeshift bat cave here. So where were we? Where were we in that conversation, if you even remember?
We were talking about Biden and Hunter.
Yeah. And in your take on that, you think Biden, let me ask you this. Would you have done the same thing Biden did, President Biden did, if that was your son?
Yes, but not for the same reasons.
What reason would you have done it for?
Well, the first thing he was convicted on was the lying on the federal form for purchasing a
firearm and lying and said he did not have a drug problem. Yeah.
Right. And, we do have a Bill of Rights and we do have a Fifth Amendment that does not, you cannot force someone to self-incriminate.
Okay.
So.
What you said, he was forced?
Well, when you sign that, when you fill out that paperwork, it asked you on that paperwork if you are currently a user of Smugs. Okay.
So you're saying they shouldn't be to ask that because it's self? So you should be to plead the fifth?
I mean, that's the law, dude.
I don't know about that. So,
but you know what? That form in itself is unconstitutional.
So what are you saying? If a person wants to buy a firearm, it shouldn't matter whether they're addicted to substance. They shouldn't be asked any questions at all. They should just be allowed to buy it.
Did I say that?
That's what I'm asking.
No, you can ask certain questions, but not that one.
Okay, what could
not
be
a lot of the other ones either. Listen, shall not be infringed. What does that mean? Does that mean fill out a bunch of paperwork?
No.
Does that say except for? It doesn't.
Well, here's the problem. When you say shall not be infringed, the problem is the interpretation of what that means. So if you want to say it's just wide open, then that means, yeah, if I got a full-blown addiction problem, my rights shall not be infringed on. Right?
Exactly.
So you think that's what it meant, though? That if when they said the Second Amendment shall not be infringed on, a person should be able to own a firearm no matter what's going on in their life, felonies, drug addiction, mental illness, nothing should stop them from being able to own a firearm?
Yes.
Would you personally, if you yourself were in charge of making a law to address this issue, would you personally defend a person having a right to own a firearm based on your definition that shall not be infringed, no matter what's going on? Do you believe that?
Constitutional definition, not my definition. You got to understand something. This isn't my definition. This is the Constitution. You can change it if you want. You can amend it if you want.
Do you think it? Okay,
the Constitution as it stands right now.
All right. Do you think that it needs to be amended?
It doesn't matter here.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Do you think it needs to be amended?
Possibly.
Explain.
That's up for debate.
Explain.
Like I said, it's up for debate.
Okay, but
do I personally think somebody that's high on drugs should be owning a firearm? No.
Okay.
But again, that's my opinion. The law is different.
Okay. So you do believe it should be amended then?
Possibly. It depends on what everybody else thinks.
You just stated
I said possibly. It depends on how people want to amend it.
That ain't got nothing to do with how you feel, though.
Like I said, how I feel is inconsequential in this.
Okay. What if you're a felon?
Getting something amended is not an easy thing to do.
So if a person commits a felony, do you believe they should lose their gun rights?
Well, they do while they're incarcerated.
I mean, when they get out.
So when you get out of jail, have you paid your debt to society?
No, you could owe restitution. You could have, I mean, no, if you're abusing children, for instance, you're probably going to be told you can never be around children ever again for your life, for the rest of your life. Can't live certain places, can't have certain income. No, you haven't paid your debt to society. It continues on for a lot of felons forever.
Okay, well, again, for those people, so I'll try to be as specific as I can be. For those people who have fully paid their debt to society, I should think they should get those rights back.
Because I believe in for what we're talking about here, I think in Florida, either they were trying to return voting rights. I don't think it was Second Amendment rights. It might have been Second Amendment, but I believe it was voting rights. They were trying to return voting rights back to felons. And it went up for a vote. And the people agree with you that after they've paid their debt to society, they should get their voting rights back. And they found a loophole to suggest, well, if you still owe restitution to your victims, you haven't fully paid your debt back. And because most felons have a huge amount of restitution considering their income capabilities, most of them never pay it all back. So they found a way to continue banning felons from having their voting rights by simply saying, yeah, you've served your time and you're no longer on paper, but you still owe money. So we're going to use the money to suggest you haven't paid your debt to society. And they were able to get that through.
Well, like I said, up for debate.
Yeah. All right. Pardoning the January 6th protesters. What say you?
Again, that's not an easy one. You can't just say yes or no on that one, because people did commit violent acts. People destroyed things. They stole things. Those people should not be pardoned. The people that caused no harm, that just walked through the building, that's a different story. Those people should be pardoned. However, some of those people that did barely anything, one guy moved a podium and he got like 20 years in prison. I don't know how accurate that is, but
I don't know how. I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't buy that.
Some sentences that some of those people got were unreasonable.
Well, and I don't disagree with that. I do believe that is. Hold on, hang on. I do believe that some of them got made an example of, and they got some heavy sentences. But let's be clear: when you consider what they were trying to do, you gotta assume you're not going to get because people are comparing it to Black Lives Matter, rioting and looting, or going and stealing TVs out of a Best Buy. When you're threatening, they literally had the entire head of the U.S. government in one building. If they were more acting in concert, they were more coordinated. They could have literally took out the entire head of the U.S. government with the exception of Trump. Trump would have been the only remaining member of U.S. They would have had the vice president, all of the Senate, and all of the House, all of Congress in one building. If they had took all of them out, Trump is the one picking every damn body, which is kind of what's happening now anyway. But you don't expect them to get normal sentences under that circumstance, do you? That's like the difference between...
is
Go ahead.
Based on your emotions. Those things didn't happen that you just said.
No, it didn't.
Okay, but you got to base it on what happened, not what you think might have happened.
No,
or could have happened.
I hear
or
you.
if they had just been, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does. Here's why.
That's not how you try people.
Here's why it does make sense. If you take a shot, let's say, for instance, I see you out in public and I don't like you. I pull out a firearm and take a shot at you and miss. As opposed to maybe I see a cop in uniform out in public and I don't like him and I take a shot at him and miss. Now, in both cases, the shooting never happened. You think they're going to treat those cases the same?
They should.
That ain't what I asked you.
But what you're saying is if somebody, went into a bank and took $10, okay? Well, you could argue in court. Well, they could have taken.
No, that ain't what I'm.
$100,000.
That ain't what I'm saying.
What didn't happen doesn't matter to me. What did happen matters to me.
But you notice you didn't answer that question. Do you think they're gonna treat the same between taking a shot at a citizen?
I said they should be treated the same.
But are they?
But are they? Not depends on the judge. I mean, you look at that judge in half of those Trump's cases.
So you believe that some judges would treat
they would have acted the same for anybody else? No.
So you believe that some judges would treat maybe trying to hurt a cop the same way they would a regular, average, everyday citizen?
You know they would.
I think
don't even act like you. Bad.
I think you're pushing back for the sake of.
Have.
I think you're pushing back for the sake of pushing back. I mean, even Trump.
No, it's not pushing back for the sake.
Yeah.
I don't. You think every judge in America is on the straight and narrow? You're full of shit.
I think.
You know it.
I think
because I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're pushing back for this. I think most Americans even agree that if you try, I think most Americans even agree that if you harm a cop, the treatment should be harsher than if you harm a regular human being. That's why you're likely to get
They are a regular human being.
Huh?
They are a regular.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They have taken a duty to protect us all.
Look, I don't put police above anybody else.
Okay, all right. Our society does. If you're a criminal and you go out and take out one of your rivals versus taking out a cop, I think every criminal in the book knows that the cop taking out a cop is going to come with a much harsher sentence. I think everybody knows that, except you, maybe.
No, I don't think everybody knows that. I think you're making unreasonable.
Really?
Just like you could also say that by your own perspective, and not even perspective, by facts, that when a cop commits a crime, they're punished harsher than everybody else.
Now, that's the case that they should be, but that's not true. They should be is where I would say in that case, but no, that's not true. But if you as a citizen, you harm a cop, you generally get a harsher punishment. They do make an example of you because they don't want other citizens doing that. Same thing with the January 6th protesters. They got made an example of because what they did is something we don't want other people trying to do.
But you're still pivoting away from the point, though.
What is the point?
The point was some of those people got unreasonable sentences. Those people, I think, should either have their sentences reduced or pardoned completely.
And that's why I go back to my original statement that if you took a shot at a cop and you miss, you're going to get an unreasonable sentence. That's why I said that.
Yes. I get what you're saying. Well, we could also say the same thing about the people on, May 29th, 2019, when they, were attacking the White House, burning down a church, or at least trying to, setting fire to a guard shack. How many of those people were arrested? How many of those people were thrown in jail for 20 years? None of them.
And I go back to
investigations there.
I go back to my original statement.
BLM was setting cities on fire, and Kamala Harris was setting up a fund to get them out of jail.
And I go back to my original statement. When you got the Senate and you got Congress and the Vice President in the building, it doesn't compare to setting fire to a guard shack.
Outside the White House, where they had to send Trump into the bunker, that doesn't compare at all.
No, it
doesn't.
That's
no big deal.
No, you're taking over.
Okay. Just like your buddy over there, the guy before who was laughing about Ashli Babbitt. Are you kidding me?
What do you think?
Seriously, he thinks it's a big joke. It's funny because it's not him. But when other things are happening around the country that same year, and no big deal. Peaceful protesters, right?
So you believe that?
You remember, was it Kenosha, I believe it was?
Yeah.
Where they had one of those reporters out there talking about a peaceful protest where there was a car dealership behind him on fire?
I don't defend that. That was ridiculous. I'll agree with you on that. That's just a regular, everyday, average reporter.
Where was the same energy for that?
I think where you and I have a total disagreement is you're not going to go into the Capitol building and get treated like somebody going into a Best Buy. It's just not going to happen.
Let me ask you that. Why was it closed that day?
Why was what closed?
The Capitol building.
Because they're engaged in a peaceful transition of power.
Okay. So in 2016, when Trump won, okay, and they were doing the same thing on January 6th, there were protesters in there. There's video of it.
Okay.
There was allowed to be. Why were they allowed to be there then and not 2020?
Probably because people were fearful something was going to happen on 2020, and apparently they were right.
So it's okay one year, but it's not okay the other year. Well,
if you perceive a threat, yeah, you make a change. Here's a perfect example. Hold on. Here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example. Right? No, it's not going to be consistent. Right after what happened with George Floyd, they set Minnesota on fire.
I didn't say
Hold on. Let me respond to your question. Right after what happened with George Floyd, they set Minnesota on fire because people were allowed to roam the streets. I guarantee if some shit like that happened again, Minnesota would not allow them to roam the streets because this time they would perceive there's going to be a problem. That's what they did in 2020 versus 2016 at the Capitol building.
What I asked you was, if in 2016 it was okay to have protesters in the building,
I just
okay,
answered
and there
that.
were a lot of protesters roaming the streets. And yes, there's video of it. Anybody can fact check me on it. Trust me, they'll watch the same damn thing. They were thrown out of the building. They were not arrested. They were not charged with anything. Nothing. Okay. And if you're saying that they perceived such a big threat on 2020, but didn't have the National Guard and just had a few cops hanging around, come on.
How many people in your 2016?
No. Don't pivot away from the point.
I'm asking a question. I'm getting clarity. You didn't hear what I was going to say. How many people were there in 2016 that you're talking about?
I'm not sure.
You got thousands of people that came on 2020. You say you should just let them all in the building.
That's not what I said.
That's what I'm asking.
I asked you why it was locked out.
I'm asking because the people couldn't fit in the damn building. They couldn't all even fit in there.
Now they couldn't fit in the building. It's always an excuse. It's always an excuse.
So then I'm asking you then.
The problem is that it was open once and it was fine. And there were tons of protesters in D.C. in 2016.
So what you're saying, so let me make sure I get clarity.
They perceived such a huge threat that they didn't want the National Guard there, though.
So then I want to ask you for clarity. Are you saying that they should have had, just like in 2016, they should have left the building open and let them all in?
I didn't say that.
I'm asking you. You bringing it up that the building was closed in 2020 and opened in 2016.
It is a public building, right?
So answer the question then. Should they have let them in?
Who owns that building? Who owns the building?
You're not answering the question.
Yes, they should have let him in. Why not?
Okay. The guys that are calling for the death of the vice president, just let them walk in.
Yeah. I get, but here's the problem, Hanson.
You answered the question. Go ahead.
And I'm telling you, who owns the building?
The people.
Who does that building belong to?
The people.
The people. So who the hell do they think they are to lock the doors and say you're not allowed in?
So the people own the White House too, so they should just be able to walk in anytime?
Okay, that's questionable. I see your point there. I'll concede that.
I mean, I'm just saying because that's
my whole point was they allowed protesters to be there in 2016. They were disrupting. They had to be thrown out. They were not arrested. They were not charged. They were just left to go.
So they left the building open in 2016. Protesters came in there and disrupted everything. Would it not make sense based on just that alone to not have the building open in 2020? You've already seen what can happen in 2016.
Sure.
Okay.
But I asked you another question. Why wasn't the National Guard brought in if they perceived such a huge threat?
It's up for dispute who was supposed to put the National Guard there in place.
It's up for dispute?
Yeah. Because some say Nancy.
Clear who's supposed to do it.
What?
It's written out who's supposed to do it.
No, it's not. It's actually not. Because the January 6th Hearings Committee, you guys are saying Nancy Pelosi. There's a lot of evidence to suggest it was not her job to do that. But let's say it was Nancy Pelosi's job. Let's say it was Nancy Pelosi.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Trump offered to have the National Guard there.
Why does he want them there?
And they said, no, we don't need that.
Why does he?
But they perceived a huge threat, right? But no, they don't need nothing.
Why does Trump want the National Guard there?
Because he ain't dumb.
That ain't answering the question. Why does he want them there?
Just in case.
Just in case.
If you think.
So let me ask it to you this way. He ain't dumb. He wants the National Guard there just in case. So he apparently, I guess that means he may perceive there may be problems. Something could happen. So
because whenever you get a large group of people, that big of people together, right, anything can happen, and you know that as well as I do.
Okay, fair enough. So then let me ask you this: after he's let Bannon, Giuliani, Flynn, and all these people speak, Don Jr. and including himself, and he notices the National Guard has not arrived there yet. What should he do?
No, they refused him days beforehand.
Okay, but you know they ain't here, and you know that you, as you said, when a lot of people get together, something can happen. You know they are not here. Should he do anything?
What can he do?
He could not have the gathering.
He
For
told
one,
them to be peaceful. He told them to be peaceful in his speech.
They-
But mind you, those people were doing that while he was still speaking.
okay, so Twisted. Why call
But they
for
want to
the?
blame him for everything.
Think about what you just said. He said,
Doesn't
"Go."
make any sense.
Think about what you
There's
just
so many
said.
inconsistencies. But here's the bigger question: why the hell are we still talking about January 6th 4 years later?
Why don't you ask him?
Here, January 6th.
Why don't you ask? Well, hold on. Why don't you ask him why we still talking about January 6th? He brings it up at every damn rally. He just tweeted out the other day, but today when Biden pardoned his son, he's online talking about January. Why don't you ask him why we still talking about it?
You guys are always talking about.
No,
it.
he is always
talking about it.
ain't nobody. Hold
Every
on.
damn day.
Ain't nobody making Trump go on stage and talk about January 6th. He's
Okay,
doing that
fine.
on his own.
We're not talking about him though.
Yeah,
We're
we
talking about everybody
are.
else.
Yeah, we are.
But that's all you ever talk about is him. I came on here to talk about Biden and the crap that he pulled.
But
The
you
fact that he
just
said half a dozen times, I ain't going to interfere.
You
I'm not
just
going to do anything,
said-
but I'm going to go ahead and pardon him. And the fact that he pardoned him back to 2014, that was long before.
I don't have any excuse for that. Yeah, I don't have any excuse for that.
Answer me that. Huh?
I don't have any
The fact
excuse for that.
This was one of the most broadest pardons in American history.
Hey.
And that's not what you're going to question. You're just going to keep going to January 6th. But forget.
But I don't. I'm gonna give you the last
it's
word.
always January 6th. It's always got to be about.
I wish when you say you keep talking about we say January 6th.
Freaking years, his own kid.
I wish when you say we
that's back
keep.
to
Hold on,
Burisma,
hang
back
on,
to
hold on,
Burisma,
hold on. You're rambling. But I wish when you would say we keep talking about January 6th, it was only us talking about January 6th. Then you'd have a point. But fact is, you have an issue with the left talking about January 6th, but you're totally okay with him doing it. He's mentioned January 6th probably every month since January 6th.
I never said I was okay with him doing it.
I didn't hear you.
I never once said I was okay with him doing it.
And that's where it's coming from.
Personally, I think he should shut up about 2020. I wish he would. Okay. But you guys bring this up constantly. Every guest you have in here prior to the election, I mean, at least I'd say more than half. But more than half of the Democrats you had in before the election was happened kept bringing up January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. I mean, how many times?
So just let him talk about
bring up January 6th. How many times did Pierre bring up January 6th?
So just let him keep talking. So all of us should stop talking about it. Just let him be the only one talking about it.
I don't want him to talk about it either, and I just said that. Why do you keep saying
I'm
not?
Well, go next time he has a rally. Go to his rally and tell him to stop talking about it the way you're telling me. I got to move it on, Twisted. As always, we don't agree, but you're always welcome back on the program. Spirited debate. I'll give you the last word.
No, I just want you to think about the fact that he pardoned him for that whole time, that whole 10 years.
It doesn't look right. I don't have an answer for that. That don't look good. Yeah, that don't look good. I don't have an answer for why he gave him a 10-year pardon.
And the Burisma stuff that he was involved in. And that makes you wonder.
All right. Twisted. Always welcome back. Thank you. And I will respond in regards to the alleged Hunter Biden. And I see somebody comment, so should we stop talking about slavery, says Alicia. A lot of people would hope for you would do that. A lot of people would love to see the books and everything on that era taken down. But in regards to the January 6th thing, my last caller is correct. It comes up a lot. But the fact is, there's no way in hell I believe it would be fair for everybody else, particularly detractors of Trump, to stop talking about January 6th and let him continue speaking about it and control the narrative. Now, if he wasn't talking about it, which is what I told my last caller, if he wasn't talking about it, then yeah, it looks like you guys got January 6th derangement syndrome or some shit like. But he is bringing it up at every rally. I mean, he literally just tweeted about it yesterday. President Biden pardons his son, and boom, Trump brings up January 6th. So I get a lot of folks on the right. Well, why won't you let this die? That happened a long time ago. I've been to Trump rallies, and he brought up January 6th when I was at the rally about a couple years ago. I didn't see, well, no, it's been about a year ago. I didn't see anybody in the audience tell Trump, sir, stop talking about that. Not what they cheered it on. But then when the liberals bring it up, oh my God, why won't y'all get over this? So I don't look, if you want to make January 6th go away, it's got to start at the top. And the guy at the top seems to love talking about it. I do want to continue responding to a couple super chats. Tap the screen, get us up to about 40,000. Why would he leave his son's faith up to that orange piece of shit? Department of Justice Court says that ex-cat. Yeah, I think even my last caller, who we were going back and forth, even he admitted he would have pardoned Hunter Biden if he was his son. He just said he would have done it for a different reason. I don't think Trump would have left his own son out there like that. Certainly when you got the next administration making it clear they're going to be targeting folks that they don't like. Why would you leave Hunter Biden out there for that? For what MAGA has referred to as victimless crimes. Remember Trump, his crimes are victimless. There's no victims to what Hunter Biden was charged with or convicted of, rather. There's no crimes to that. And by the way, since Hunter Biden wasn't sentenced, that also means he's not a felon, right? That's what we were saying on Trump. Let me go back to the box real quick. But Will G says they will say 1 million blacks. Now, I saw that, and 40 million next time. That's depressing, Will. That is. Hopefully you're wrong. Hopefully. You're not always wrong. The 14 people were arrested and tried in the George Floyd protests. I didn't know that. 14 people. I guess you're talking about because there were George Floyd protests all over the world. I'm assuming you're talking about in Minneapolis or in Minnesota. 14 people were tried. I didn't hear that. Cops are to be held to a higher standard than regular civilians if they commit crimes like a regular person. It's unbecoming of an officer same for military. Like I was telling my last caller, that's the way it should be. I don't think that's the way it is, though. I mean, wasn't there a cop in Dallas recently that went into what she thought was the wrong, she thought it was her apartment, but she went into an African-American guy. I don't know why it's always black people. I just don't know. I don't want to say, because I don't know if what she did was racist or not. She thought she was in her own place and somebody had broken her place and she shot and killed a guy. Turns out she was in his apartment and murdered him in his own apartment. Anyway, she got a fairly light sentence. So in regards to when cops commit crimes, they should get made an example of because they're supposed to be hired. That ain't what actually happens, though. I think cops can, in fact, you or I as a citizen, if you're involved in a use of deadly force, you're likely to get made an example of compared to the police. I'll give you an example. There are videos you can watch, active self-protection or police activity or some of these sites on social media, on YouTube. There are plenty of videos of citizens using firearms in self-defense cases. Guy working behind the counter at a liquor store and somebody comes in and he has to take the guy's life to defend himself, or carjackings or whatever. You notice when a citizen uses a firearm in self-defense, they never empty the gun. You rarely see a citizen pop off 10 rounds at a guy, hitting the dude when he already on the ground and shit. You don't ever see citizens do that. You know why? Because citizens know if you carry like me and many others who watch, you know you are much more responsible for every round that leaves your firearm. Cops get all sorts of police, what do you want to say? Whether it's you're going to get the fraternal order police. I mean, they circle the wagons, basically what I'm saying. If you're a cop and you use your firearm in self-defense, you get a lot more leeway. In fact, you can just simply say, I feared for my life, and often get away with taking the life of somebody who may not even be armed. As a citizen, that shit ain't gonna work. As a citizen, if you pop somebody who's not armed, you better have all kind of video angles of that. And it better really look like you had a reason to do that. Cops kind of get the benefit of the doubt. So I totally disagree that the cops get treated harsher when they make a mistake. It's actually lighter, in my opinion. It's actually less because they have all these keywords they can say that kick in. I thought, he reached, I felt this way, and that stuff works. For a regular citizen, none of that stuff is going to work. Destruction of government property and threatening government officials is a high offense. True, and that's my whole argument about the notion that Black Lives Matter folks should get the same punishment for breaking in a Best Buy as a protester breaking in the Capitol building when all of the heads of state are there. It's not going to be the same. I mean, what's next? You want to break into the hangar that the F-50, the F-22 or the F-35 is located and expect, well, it's the same as breaking into a Walgreens. No, the Air Force would shoot you dead. That's classified. You just can't walk in there. Well, it ain't no different than walking into Walgreens after they close. No, it's a big difference. There are differences to it. Real quick, I want to make sure Joseph Miller, appreciate the support. I meant to put on my spectacles. Ukraine got hit in 2014. Obama did nothing. Ukraine saw a trend, so they asked for help from NATO. Now Russia is mad. It was a lose-lose situation. Obama should have helped. It was his last term anyway. Now you're talking about when Ukraine took Crimea in 2014. You're saying Obama didn't do anything, and I believe that's actually correct. And many folks cite that. Under Trump, there was no new wars, and they saw Obama and Biden as weak presidents. That's why they decided to do it. Well, if Obama did something, which is what Biden did, they would have criticized him for that too. Because Putin took Crimea in 2014, and then he invaded again in 2022. And Obama and Biden took opposite approaches. Obama didn't really do anything. Biden has damn near done everything except sending us over there. And both of them got criticized equally. So it doesn't matter if you're a detractor of the left, it doesn't matter which one they do. You're not gonna give them credit for either one. And I agree with what you said, Joseph. It's a lose-lose situation. No matter what he does, they're gonna blame him. If he stands down, if Biden had stood down and did nothing, Russia would have taken over the Ukraine. So they become a bigger, stronger country under Biden's watch. What do you think MAGA's going to say if Russia becomes bigger and stronger under Biden's watch? They're going to be just as critical of him as they are now with him sending money overseas. I mean, it's a lose-lose no matter what happens. If he gets involved, if he don't get involved, he's going to get criticized either way. Sid, honestly, would you leave your son at the mercy of Orange Man? Biden did the right thing protecting his family. Not only did he do the right thing, I believe anybody would have done it. I think anybody would have done that. It ain't like Hunter Biden took somebody's life or, abused a child or something like that. His crimes are victimless, and his lying on a gun application, he could get up to 16 months in prison for that, which is not terrible, but that tax fraud had a 17-year sentence. He could get a max. Probably wasn't going to get it, but I mean, like what a couple of my viewers are saying. Would you depend on the Trump administration? You're facing 17 years, and they don't like you or your family at all. Okay, maybe they don't give you 17 years, but maybe they give you 6. Are you going to leave your son up for that? I mean, that would probably be the rest of Biden's natural life damn near. I mean, Biden probably will be gone in less than 10 years. I mean, he would have put his son in prison forever. And I see in the comments, Dina Clark says he paid the money already. Yeah, but so did Trump. Trump, his lying on bank applications case that he lost to Letitia James, he paid all the loans back too. And they still convicted him going back to the box. I think both of those folks, Trump and Hunter Biden, in those cases got railroaded. I think both of them did. But as I said before, Trump was totally okay with Hunter Biden getting railroaded. He's out there talking about he's the victim of a witch hunt, but he's totally okay with it happening to Hunter Biden. Driver 715, good evening. Welcome to the program. With interest, says Johnny. I'm assuming Hunter Biden paid his tax debt back with interest too. Driver 715, good evening.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Biden pardoned his son. What say you?
Good. Everybody knew he was going to do it. Only MAGA are the only ones that was holding him to his word.
Do you really think that they thought he wasn't going to do it?
No, they live off of words. He lied. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Hold on a second. What the hell's going on with YouTube? Yeah, I think they all knew that he was going to do that. But